Hey there, it's Bogdan, and I wanted to make this video for you today to continue to do what I've hoped to do over these past few days. See, we are going through a very stressful, fearful, panicky, chaotic time from a health point of view, from the economy point of view, from people's emotional, physical, mental, psychological well-being. And my goal, especially on that third area there, is to just drop these little bits of inspiration, these ideas, these reminders of the things that you already know to make sure that you're actually using this in your life to better psychologically and emotionally cope with what's happening in the world today and then well beyond that. Chaos is as a natural part of life, whether it's the coronavirus now or something else not working out in your career future in the future, something not working out at home, some argument, something. Chaos is a constant part of our everyday life. Things aren't going to work out, but there are things that we can do. There are ways that we can think about our life that will help us cope with these things and be less stressed, less fearful, less panicky, maybe a little bit more optimistic, maybe a little bit more seizing opportunities that are available to us. And that's what I want to help with. I started with a video a few days back. I hope you saw it, sharing 5 ideas, very practical ideas you can use to deal with the coronavirus situation and use it to better psychologically and emotionally cope with what's going on right now. If you haven't watched that, make sure you watch that video. I shared just yesterday an email to my list of subscribers and fans and customers talking about an article I posted last year and bringing that back up and sharing about it, about the kind of the behind the scenes of how a lot of these news outlets work, why we're seeing certain stuff on the news and not other things, why potentially stopping and not consuming the news all day long, constantly being glued to it, especially in a time like this, why we may want to stop doing that and stop watching the news and kind of tune out and focus on getting information in other ways, how we can stay informed in other ways. So I shared that stuff. And then I want to kind of in this third video here, or third part of this, is to share with you some ideas, some mindsets that we can implement into our life. Chances are you've heard of this stuff before, but I want to remind you and plant these seeds that help you today be more grounded, more centered, deal with this chaos and all the chaos you'll face for the rest of your life in a better way that doesn't affect you quite as deeply and wounds you. How do you do that? And so today in this video, I want to share with you 3 Stoic philosophies that you can use to better deal with chaos. The coronavirus chaos right now, and again, all future chaos that you'll go through. So 3 philosophies, Stoic philosophies. The Stoics were a very, very unique group of people back when it started. There's a lot of books out there about Stoicism and their philosophies, but I wanted to extract 3 of them and share them with you for this specific situation that we're going through right now. So let's get into it. Number 1, the first Stoic idea to help you, the first Stoic philosophy to help you deal with the chaos and better emotionally and psychologically cope with it is this one. Only worry about and think about and focus on the things that you can control and the things that you can change. This was a big one. A lot of the great Stoic leaders and philosophers and thinkers, people like Seneca, like Epictetus, like Marcus Aurelius, or in the books that are shared about Stoicism, believe this and live this out in their life. Only worry about the things that you can control. See, right now in the world, where a lot of people are worrying and thinking about and using a lot of their mental bandwidth from the things that they cannot control. And there's certain things that we can do, in this instance, to stay safe, to protect our businesses in this coronavirus kind of crisis and chaos that we're going through right now. And we should be doing that, but we should be going back and thinking to ourselves, what can we control here? We can't control what will happen with the virus on a global scale, perhaps, but we can we isolate ourselves? Can we apply the social distancing that we've been taught and actually isolate ourselves so we're safe? Can we eat better during this time so that we strengthen our autoimmune system and we're less susceptible to illness, this virus, or anything else in the future? Can we do that? Can we wake up in the morning and not go straight into the news, but continue with our daily life. Maybe go straight into a morning meditation, maybe go into work, maybe go into spending some quality time with family. Can we control that? Yes. We're still in charge of our schedule, even in a time like of chaos like this. And so we got to make a list of and get clear on the things that we can control and focus our attention and energy on those things. Now, of course, this here isn't just a Stoic philosophy. In fact, my favorite way of this has been applied now is the serenity prayer, which you may have heard of, which is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. In a time of chaos, especially a time right now, we should be zooming out and focusing on the things that we can control, focusing on the things that we can change. What can we do? How can we focus on improving our diet, improving our lifestyle, making the smartest decisions from a health point of view? How can we make the smartest decisions from a career, from a business point of view? How can you use this time to step back and invest in ourselves and really learn, perhaps learn some new skills so that our career, our businesses are better after this time, not worse? How do we put those protective layers in place? How do we apply all the things that if you've been in the personal growth space for any length of time, how can you review that and use that stuff to ground yourself, center yourself? Because if you freak out, your family will freak out, your friends will freak out, your business partners will freak out. So who do you need to be there for, as I shared in the other video? And then apply this stuff, focus on the things you can control and do that. Be proactive in doing those things. So that's the first Stoic philosophy that I want you to really think about after this video. How can I apply this and be creative in how you can apply this? Now, number two, second Stoic philosophy, and this was a quote made out of this as well, which is happiness resides and happiness comes from our thinking, or starts there. The Stoics were very much prone and thought a lot about intellect. They were the mind is incredibly powerful. The mind shapes our reality. They were talking about these philosophies long before the personal development industry, as we know it today, shares these things. And so our mind kind of initiates a lot of the things we feel, a lot of the experiences we have, ultimately controls our destiny. Our mind is powerful, but a lot of people forget that, especially in times of chaos when we need it the most. A lot of people on a normal day before this, before what's happening in the world right now, before reality as we know it today, they wake up and they have their morning routines and they meditate and they think and they read these books and they practice thinking in a more positive, optimistic way. They practice thinking in a way that supports their goals and dreams. But in times of chaos, we completely forget that and we go back into the fear, go back into engaging with our survival instincts, our reptilian brain all the time. We completely forget the things that we learned and the things that we know we should be doing, and we just kind of retreat. The second Stoic philosophy that I want to share with you here is to remind you that that is not the case. Happiness, the most fundamental level, happiness begins with our thinking. And in a time like this, even in the worst chaos in the world, it's still possible for you to wake up happy, for you to wake up grounded, centered. But if you're going to do that, it's got to start with you and your thinking, to monitor what you're putting in, not constantly being bombarded by the news. Focus on what you're putting into your mind and focus how you're thinking, the things that you're saying to the people around you, because that's going to impact how you feel and ultimately what you do and the results you'll get during this time and in your life. Now, of course, this stuff isn't easy to implement. The Stoics spend their entire lives attempting to better and master the implementation of this into their lives. And so personal growth, there is no end to it, but these ideas, we can be better at implementing them, especially in times of chaos, but we've got to train ourselves to do this and keep at it over and over again. And so idea number one, focus on the things only that you can control. In fact, make a list of those things and be proactive in doing those things. Number two, go back to the roots, go back to the very beginning, which is your thinking. How are you waking up in the morning? What's the first thoughts that you're thinking? How are you priming your mind? Are you using the power of your mind, or are you just retreating back into fear? Are you doing the things that you know you should be doing? Number two. Number three, the third philosophy I want to share with you here is about long-term thinking and kind of investing in the future. See, there's a lot of quotes about this also from Stoic philosophers about thinking long term, about perhaps delaying gratification right now and investing in the future, because that's kind of what Stoics were if you go and research it. Stoics were people who invested in the future, not like investors investing money, but they invested with their energy and their actions. They were constantly thinking about what can they do today that may not have tangible results right away, but can have a future result. And the reason I bring up this philosophy here in this time of chaos, the coronavirus, the spread, the impacts on people's healths, on the economy, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people are forgetting this right now. People are quarantined at home. You have time. That's one of the hidden opportunities right now. People have time. And so, how are you going to use that? A lot of people in this time are going to spend more time watching Netflix or binge watching shows or binge watching movies. And it's a sad use of our time, especially if we can be investing this time. Of course, what's happening in the world sucks, and we wouldn't wish it upon ourselves, but it is the way it is. And so, how can we take a step back? How can we continue to invest in ourselves? Perhaps right now is the best time for you to learn a new topic, for you to learn a new skill that will protect you in your career or your business later on. Perhaps now's the best time to learn a new skill. Perhaps now's the best time for you to sit, snuggle up, and read some of those books that you've been wanting to read, or go through some of these programs, or learn some of these skills. Or when it comes to our health and fitness, right now, if you look at stores, the things that are disappearing on the shelves in stores are things like breads or pastas or canned goods or things like that, because in times of crisis a lot of people forget what we know and we retreat back into certain old habits, certain innate things. People right now are probably eating worse and taking worse care of their health right now when they should be taking better care of their health right now in a time of crisis like this, to help their immune system, which will help them in this spread or avoiding this spread, helping their body cope with the coronavirus or whatever else is happening in the world today, whatever illnesses, viruses, etc. And so we need to be investors. So that's the third Stoic philosophy I want to remind you of. Right now may be the best time for you to look at how can I invest my energy for a better future, not just retreat into thinking about focusing right now, because it's a natural tendency. In times of chaos, in times of crisis, people narrow down their focus on right now and continue to forget about the future entirely. What we got to do is expand our horizon and know that, hey, what's going on in the world right now will pass. It will pass. We'll look back on this at one point. And so let's use our time to invest. Let's invest in our health so we can have better health later on. Let's invest in our, for example, learning or wisdom or work. Right now, people have time. They're quarantined in homes. And so how are you using this time? Perhaps a good way to use this time, maybe to start some new actions, some new projects. Maybe it's to spend quality time with family and be proactive and invest in those relationships. Perhaps it's time to read some new books, get some new information, educate yourself, whatever it is for you. And so I hope this video helped you. 3 philosophies. Number 1, worry only about the things you can control. Focus only on the things you can control. Easier said than done, I agree, but we can still do something about this. This can serve as a reminder that impacts our actions and therefore our results. Number 2, it all starts with our thinking. So guard your mind, what's especially now in a time of chaos. Guard your mind. Stand at the door of your mind and guard what's coming in and how you're thinking, what you're saying, because that's going to impact what you do, the results you get. And then number 3, the Stoics were investors. They invested their energy. They were willing to delay gratification now for results later on. They were willing to be stoic in that way and pursue the virtues that they wanted in their life. And that is even more important now than ever before for coping psychologically, emotionally, for the coronavirus that's going on right now, the pandemic, as well as the future beyond this once this all passes. So I hope this video has helped you, these 3 philosophies. Think about them, be creative in your application of them, and I wish you safety, health, prosperity, abundance now and beyond this point. Go out there and have an incredible, incredible day today.